Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 77th episode of the Driving Digital Stand-Up. I have a treat for you today. 2 weeks ago, I published my 1,000th article that's stemming back from my writing career starting in 2005 with articles on my blog, that's the Star CIO blog, on CIO.com, Infoworld.com, and many other publications. So what I've done is I picked out the most timeless pieces, the ones that I wrote recently in 2023, all the way back to 2014, that really stand the course of time. I'm Isaac Sacolick. I lead a company called Star CIO. We guide organizations on digital transformation programs with our leadership and learning programs. I'm a former CIO and CTO, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you my timeless pieces that I've written. So here's the top post from 2023. It's a little too early to see what's going to stand the test of time. So I picked a classic. Going back to 2019, I published all my reading from that year. This is the 2023 post that came out based on reading I did in 2022. It includes my book, Digital Trailblazer, that came out in 2022. If you haven't read it yet, I hope you will. It includes Helen Yu's book, Ascend Your Startup, really good book. Another great book for startups, The Cold Start Problem. And if you're into fiction, my favorite fiction book last year was The Children's Bible. So look for this post in January of every single year. If you have advice on what to read, please send it to me. And if you're looking for something to read, these are the greatest posts I have to find great books. So rolling back to 2022, this is a key post if you're using Agile in a single program with multiple teams. If you look at the Star CIO org program around this, we have two leaders at the top, a product manager and an Agile delivery manager. And this post really talks about how the two must collaborate, talks about creating vision statements together, and how the Agile delivery manager creates standards. There's also another Driving Digital Stand-Up video attached to this post around what is the role of the Agile delivery manager. I can tell you that's one of the top videos on this video channel. So if you're doing Agile, multiple teams, this is a really important post for you. So 2021 was the year I introduced the Star CIO Vision Statement template. It is a one-page template that initiative leaders should fill out before they even start on a program. It has two sides to it. One around the customer, who the customer is, what the value proposition is. The other side is around strategic intent and why it's important to invest in that particular program. It's designed to bring program leaders together before you start working on an initiative to actually get aligned around the program's goals. I work with many organizations around it. Usually takes an hour or two to fill out, and it really resolves many of the issues that come up during a program where there isn't alignment. So you can read about the first blog post around this. That's the blog URL below. I am also sharing the URL to download the vision statement. It is free. You sign up for my newsletter and you can get access to it. That URL is down below, and all of the URLs that I'm sharing in this video are in the comments section of this video on the Driving Digital Stand-Up. So 2020, I introduced a series of posts around different roles in Agile programs. This was the premier one around the Agile technical lead. It is one of the most popular videos on the Driving Digital Stand-Up, and it's because technical leads on teams play an important role in mentoring teammates and understanding how to solution and working through estimates. And so I laid it out for everyone in a 6-minute video and a single blog post. I hope you watch it. If you are a tech lead on an Agile program or work with a tech lead on an Agile program, this is an easy video for you to really understand the role and responsibility. And if you look at my posts after this, I have roles for Scrum Masters, for product owners, for business analysts. I've covered all the different roles on Agile teams through the year, and I'll share those posts also in the comments behind this video. So going back to 2019, a good year, we were all experimenting. We were doing proof of concepts in machine learning, and I'm not surprised that my two top posts are around POCs and experimenting, and the first one around spikes, about putting cards on your backlog that are meant to be experimental in nature. They're still estimated, but they provide a time box to the product owner over how much time and effort is going to be applied to it. And they may fail, or they may succeed, or they may require additional work going into the next sprint. In 10 questions before starting a machine learning POC, I do just that. I leave you 10 questions to start off with before you even start coding or experimenting, so that you know you are working on a machine learning POC that has the potential to deliver business value. So 2 of my posts that year on POCs and experimenting, and I think they're still highly relevant today. I have a number of posts through the years covering the importance and activities around data governance. The first one appeared in 2018 with this graphic. I followed it up in 2020, defining what I call proactive data governance. You could see it in this photo. The blue disciplines are really what I call the defensive side of data governance, making sure you have the policies and the organizational structure and the catalog to enable data-driven organizations. And then the green areas are what I call the offensive side, making sure your security is in place, putting data operations to automate your data pipelines, creating master data sources and customer data profiles, and then improving data quality. And then, of course, being able to load in new data sources for your analysis and data science programs. So I hope you'll look through my 2 posts. I have many others around data governance. I'll show you at the end of this video how to get access to them. But one key pillar of the posts I do on Star CIO and in my programs are about becoming a data-driven organization. So 2017, I wrote one of my most important DevOps posts around cicd, continuous integration and continuous delivery. Many DevOps teams were trying to take that to the next step of continuous deployment, of using their automation to push code directly into production. And I challenged those assumptions. I said, for many organizations, the business strategy does not really require that level of automation. That's the business strategy questions that I asked. And then the technical capabilities, I challenged DevOps teams and said, do you have all the testing in place? Do you have the monitoring and AI ops in place? Are you doing canary releases and other automated deployment procedures? Are you documenting enough? And so I challenged the assumptions whether they really had all the capabilities to implement continuous deployment reliably. So if you're thinking about moving forward in the DevOps pipeline, going from continuous delivery to deployment, or even if you have, there is some good nuggets in this post about whether your organization or your team should be going up that stack and saying we should be deploying continuous deployment. So 2016, I've left you one very tactical post around configuring Agile project management tools. Every time I walk into an organization, I'm surprised by how many of these best practices aren't being followed. Star CIO does have a Jira template that follows all 10 of these. And if you're not using Jira, or if you're using Jira, I am sure you're going to find some really good advice in this one post for configuring your Agile project management tools. And then in 2016, I pivoted the Star CIO blog. I started writing a lot more about digital transformation back then. This post surprised me when I saw it in the top ones. It's very strategic in terms of the practices you need to lead digital transformation initiatives. You could see I focus on many non-technical ones, including digital marketing and sales and financial analysis and change management. These are all considered key elements of running digital transformation initiatives. And I set them up from critical practice areas that you need at the beginning versus other areas that you can add to the end. So this was a very forward-looking post going back to 2016. And I'm sure that if you are leading a digital transformation initiative, you're going to find this blog post very useful. So that was 2016. 2015, I just had too many top posts. I had to leave you all of them, starting with these 2 posts around product owners. I had some situations where I had some very difficult ones, and I codified 2 posts, one of them about how to handle difficult Agile product owners, and then 20 bad behaviors of Agile development product owners. Then separating that, I started really talking about digital business and culture back then. I left you a post on what is digital business business and digital transformation. Remember, this is going all the way back to 2015. It's 8 years ago. And then posts around how to improve IT culture with Agile, DevOps, data, and collaboration. This post actually became pivotal in my book, Driving Digital. And then thinking through around the data side, I wrote a post around 4 reasons why citizen developers may be the next thing in application development. Of course, that became popularized in 2020. And then I asked a question going all the way back to 2015. Who really should own DevOps between dev and IT operations? And I'll give you a hint, it's not dev. I really said ops should step up and take ownership of more of the responsibilities within the DevOps pipeline. So a bunch of really important forward-looking posts all the way back to 2015. I hope you'll read all of them. So going back to 2014, this is probably my most forward-looking post around emerging technologies. Back then, we were talking about the big 3, machine learning, IoT, and blockchain, largely in isolation. And I started thinking about things like automation cars and smart manufacturing and saying, we're going to put these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of sensors at locations where we're collecting information. We're going to want to do a lot of machine learning that's local intelligence, probably using edge computing, and then more long-term planning type of machine learning that's done on the aggregate of all this data, probably up in the cloud. And we needed seamless ways to run these algorithms both at the local edge level and then at the cloud at the aggregate level. So I wrote this post, created this diagram talking about the intersection of IoT and machine learning. So I've given you 2014 to 2023 on my top posts. I have some bonuses for you. I'm going to go back all the way to 2008. Stay tuned. So as promised, here are the posts from 2013 to 2008. 13 around Agile Team Velocity, 2012 about presenting strategy instead of status. 11 going back and talking about offshore teams and why you should visit them. 2010 about maturing Agile development in enterprises. 2009 around how Agile really spurs innovation. And 2008 a post on pair programming that made it into my book, Digital Trailblazer. That's a book of stories of leading digital transformation initiatives. This is a book for everyone who wants to learn about sitting at board meetings or get challenged by Agile product owners or changing the culture in your organization. And then my first book, Driving Digital, which is the best practices for leading digital transformation initiatives. That book became a bestseller, goes back to 2017. So I hope you'll pick up and read both of my books. Just so that you know, I'm going to share all the links to everything that I shared in this video. You'll find it on my blog and in the comments on the Driving Digital Stand-Up. I also have this dashboard that I update once a month. It has links to all my writing on Star CIO, on CIO, on InfoWorld. You could drill down into it by topic. So visit that URL to the data viz that will give you access to all of my writing. And then if you want, if you're a fan of Digital Trailblazer, please do join our community of Star CIO Digital Trailblazers. When you log in here, you're going to get 4 different things. You're going to get access to the vision statement. You're going to get access to my career checklist that's for product owners, data scientists and governance leaders, and DevOps leaders. You're going to get access to a page that has chapter by chapter content around Digital Trailblazers. And then you're going to get special videos that I released about every single chapter. Thank you for joining me on this 1000th blog post celebration on the Driving Digital Stand-Up, episode 77. Happy holidays for those of you who are celebrating here in December in 2023. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode.